One second.
We go live in 1 minute.
This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Live from Peach Time Out in the heart of Times Square. You're listening to Beach Talk Radio with Kim and Ed Ryan.
And good morning, everybody. Welcome to episode number 155 of Beach Talk Radio. Ed Ryan, the trusty sidekick, is right along with me here. The lovely wife, and on virtual here is Congressman Brian Mast, and we're going to get right into it because we know he has family duties to take care of today with his kids. They're going to play hockey today, so he's getting ready for that. The first question, Brian, is how does it feel to be out of Washington, D.C.?
I'm not that far out of Washington right now. There's actually no hockey in our future today. I'm on the road with three of my kids. We're on the North Carolina, Virginia line at the Welcome Center on our way home to Florida.
Great. So the big question is you wrote a blog piece that posted a couple of days ago about Lake Okeechobee, which for those of us down here and other places, 2018 was horrible with the red tide, and it hurt a lot of businesses
and green algae
and made a lot of people sick, and a lot of it had to do with the Caloosahatchee. So kind of tell us what your goal is there, with the blog post and how you think that might be accomplished.
Corps of Engineers is about to basically finalize what they're going to do for the next decade in terms of how they manage our waters in Florida, right? Lake Okeechobee, where and when the water gets released in the summertime, what directions it goes. That matters to the Caloosahatchee. It matters to the St. Lucie, the Everglades, folks around Lake Okeechobee. It matters to everybody. But when this was written, the Lake Okeechobee regulation schedule, what governs us right now, I don't think there's anybody that can say it gave the guaranteed flows to the Caloosahatchee that they need in the dry months, and it guaranteed that they weren't going to get crapped on in the summer months and get way too much water and toxic water at that. Same thing for the St. Lucie, and same thing for the Everglades, for the water that they need. This is truly a once in a decade, maybe once in a lifetime opportunity to actually get that water management right. And the Corps has actually come up with ways to say, yeah, you know what? We can get the water to the Caloosahatchee that they need, even though quite often we don't give them what they need. We can get more for agriculture, more for the Everglades, and cut off the water to the St. Lucie because they don't want it. it's a win-win on all sides. Why wouldn't they do that?
So, will they do it? I mean, what are the chances that this is going to take place?
Look, so what I'm talking to you right now, it's a model run that they've come up with literally tens of thousands of them. I want to say they've come up with about 27,000 different model runs for how they may potentially manage Lake Okeechobee in the different seasons in the future. The ones that I'm looking at that will accomplish this, they're called 4C1, those models. Now, they have a lot of other models that they might choose to run that would say they're going to retain more water in Lake Okeechobee and not send it to the Caloosahatchee when they need it in the winter months, and dump more on the Caloosahatchee in the summer months because too much is kept in the lake. Or they're going to hold more in Lake Okeechobee and then dump it on the St. Lucie in summer months because they want to rely on that. We don't know which one exactly they're going to use yet, but every area has different interests. I'm not going to pretend that, but you got to go out there and you got to speak up for what yours are on the Caloosahatchee, just like we're going to do it for us on the St. Lucie.
I was looking at your blog post, and there's a comment in there about that the modeling does show that there's a definitive way to wipe out those negative discharges. Do you believe that is possible, and that they can achieve that if they work hard enough or pick the right plan?
Yeah, I fully believe that they can. We say a normal year in Florida, it's normal for us to have the threat of a hurricane or a couple of hurricanes. So I give the Corps of Engineers a slight bit of leeway, saying, listen, unless we got 5 hurricanes that, are coming one after another, those would be some extreme circumstances. But yeah, if they manage the lake right, they can get it to a place that when they can adjust it because of the repairs to the Herbert Hoover Dike, because of everything that they do with the management styles, that they give everybody the appropriate water, the right cubic feet per second. And again, I've talked about this a little bit. I'll be a little bit more specific on it. Last season, the Caloosahatchee, and sometimes you're only getting 400 cubic feet per second of water. You guys generally ask on that side for about 1,000 cubic feet per second, maybe a little bit more. They weren't giving you enough. Right now, they're giving you about 2,000 cubic feet per second, which is probably a little bit more than what you want, but you still have decent salinity levels over there. But the point is, they're having to give you too much right now, but they didn't give you enough before. We got to make this demand that for your side, they give you the appropriate amount all year long, just like they give us the appropriate amount all year long, which on my side is none. We don't want any of it. We don't need that for the right salinity levels, but different management for different places that need it, and come to the realization that the Corps of Engineers has zero right to poison anybody else. And that has to be an acknowledgement that everybody makes.
Congressman, the last few weeks we've had city councilman Jim Adderholt on. We talked to Chauncey Goss a few weeks before that, and they talk a lot about the Everglades restoration. Is that going according to plan, and why is it taking so long?
Look, it's going according to plan in this way. The Corps of Engineers has been doing their technical corrections to all of the planning and everything related to the reservoir down there. The biggest hiccup that we've seen has been the state Senate president, Wilton Simpson, going out there. And I think he said recently, listen, I'm not going to cut off funding for the reservoir. But he also said prior to that he was going to look directly at cutting off funding to the reservoir because he wanted to move to other water storage options on the north of the lake, and he wanted to take money away from that. So you have something that is state law, federal law, appropriated on both sides, that reservoir, and he was talking about saying, yeah, I want to take the money away from that. Makes absolutely no sense. That's been the biggest threat that's been put forward towards that reservoir that we've seen so far.
And I know, can you talk a little bit about the recent letter that you and some others wrote asking for I think it was $725 million for funding for the Everglades restoration. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. We want to see these South Florida ecosystem projects across the board from north to south. We want to see these things brought to completion. We've been able to bump that number up in the last couple of years from about 60 million up to about 250 million plus. Now we're saying, listen, let's get this even higher. Let's get this up. If we're going to do big infrastructure in these next couple of years across America, Let's get those dollars into Florida water infrastructure. We see the population that's coming into Florida year after year, 400,000 plus coming into Florida in all different parts. That infrastructure to accommodate that has to be accounted for, and water projects like this, both for keeping Florida clean, but making sure that there's the supply on all sides that need supply, making sure that it's there, that needs that infrastructure investment.
So, Congressman, one of the things that City Councilman or Jim Adderholt is trying to do is he's got a print campaign starting a few weeks that he wants the local residents to reach out to, their elected officials a little higher up than they are here on the beach, and voice their opinion about the water, make sure that, the funding is still there. Does something like that work to hear from the residents on a consistent basis? The folks that are elected in not only nationally, but in the state house in Tallahassee?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it works. I have make sure my residents speak out to me all the time, but it's not just speak out to me. I think we work in a partnership. We put out things even over to your side of the state and other places saying, listen, right now we have the Corps of Engineers doing a public comment period, or right now we have the Corps of Engineers that's looking to make this decision that's going to affect us for the next couple decades on when and where they release water, and if they're allowed to release toxic water on us, literally toxic. The Corps, the EPA have all acknowledged that it's toxic when we get those algal blooms in the summertime. Do they have the right to do that? When and where is that going to happen? And we work in a partnership, my constituents and I, to say, make sure that we get them letters, that we're calling them, that we're showing up to the South Florida Water Management District meetings and speaking in the public comment, so that they know exactly what it is that we're going to demand. Because the truth is, you guys know this, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. You got to go out there and you got to let people know that you're paying attention to this. And if you don't, then they're going to step on you, just like what's happened to us over the last couple decades, where we get this crap water dumped on us at multiple times a year. We got to stop it. And that's how you do it. You speak up in a partnership.
How profoundly will, as the Everglades restoration project gets going, how profoundly will that affect the flow of water and the flow that St. Lucie and Caloosahatchee River get?
There's so much that's going on already with modified waters, with various flow equalization basins down to the south that get water going down there. Sometimes you have the stormwater treatment areas that get too full or a little ahead of schedule. Right now, we think that the water management district could be putting more water into those stormwater treatment areas. They don't think that they should be right now, which is why they're about this morning starting to send discharges out to my community. They're already been sending water out to the Caloosahatchee for a while. But these projects like the Kissimmee River Restoration Project and others, every single time that we can take a drop and hold it back or move it somewhere else, that's a drop that we don't have to put in terms of harmful discharge into my backyard or yours. So it all makes a difference. The reservoir is going to make a massive difference. The ability to repair that Herbert Hoover Dike is going to make a massive difference. And one of the things that I've been yelling for years is the change in management that the Corps of Engineers do in terms of getting more water out of the lake before hurricane season, where they don't have to build a decade worth of infrastructure. They don't have to spend billions of dollars in order to do it. Just manage it differently so that they try to get water out of the lake before hurricane season, before the water is toxic. It's a no-brainer. And when they do those things, they put us all in a better situation for hurricane season.
Congressman, President Trump was a big supporter and helpful federally with what we're trying to accomplish down here. Do you feel the same way about this administration and the and what's going on in Washington with losing the House and the Senate now?
Look, President Trump was a huge supporter. He helped us up those numbers into infrastructure. He stood on the shores of Lake Okeechobee and looked at the problems himself. Look, I don't care who the administration is. I'm going to be hopeful that they work with us in a big way to get this accomplished. We have Democrats on the other side that will be working to get those dollars into Florida as well, like Debbie Wasserman Schultz, who sits on the Appropriations Committee. She's going to be working to get those dollars, hopefully, for the Everglades projects, just like I'm going to be working to get those dollars into those projects. And as we move into the next Water Resources Development Act, I think you're going to see something with the Democrat unified government that didn't occur before. You're going to see them in all likelihood, and this is going to create a big mess on a lot of sides, but you're going to see them open up what's known as the Clean Water Act, and beyond that, what's known as Waters of the U.S. And when they start opening that up in the next Water Resources and Development Act, basically a year from now, you're going to see fights like you've never seen before in the state of Florida.
So we talked a little bit about people writing their congressman. Is there anything people can do to sort of encourage the Army Corps of Engineers to make the best decision for the areas that they live in?
Yeah, look, like I said, I'd tell you the 4C1 models for what they're going to do in the new Lake Okeechobee System Operating Manual. I think that's the best models. It helps get everybody the water that they need and eliminates the water that they don't need. And in that, I think it's a win-win. So I think people should be asking for that, but I would encourage you all, look at those model runs. Speak to your representative Byron over there. I think he's doing a great job getting up to speed on everything related to this at the federal level, and let him know that you want him to go out there and advocate for these runs, that there's room to make sure that you're guaranteed the water that you need in the winter so that you don't have bad ecology, and that there's a way to guarantee that you don't get the water that's too much in the summer. So you're not getting 5,000 cubic feet per second in summer and getting crapped on 2 seasons a year, getting your water destroyed. And get him to go out there and advocate for that. We'll be advocating for it on my side. Byron and I speak a lot, and I think you got a good representative over there who can go out there and work together with the rest of us to help get this across the finish line for Florida waters. We can do this.
Congressman, how much of this is political? How much of the releases are political? For the average person that doesn't pay attention to the water issue as much, how much of it is political, and is it 100% needed to be released the way it is?
Totally political. It's not to say that we don't have needs that need to be met, and that people that don't have rights to have water, they do. Look, agriculture has a right to water. Sugar has a right to water. The farmers, they have land, things like that. I would never take that away from them. And the Caloosahatchee has a right to water. The Everglades has a right to water. But you got to get to the point where you make certain acknowledgments that say you have a right to water, but you don't get to demand so much water that it requires dumping toxic water on me in the summer because you asked the Corps of Engineers to keep so much of it in reserve. That's a bridge too far. You went too far asking for that much if that's what it requires for you to keep that much water. That's the political side of what has gone on with previous Lake Okeechobee management. And the U.S. Sugar Company, this is not hyperbole, they've sued the Corps of Engineers to say, we don't want you to lower the levels on Lake Okeechobee one drop, even if it means we don't have to dump on the Caloosahatchee, we don't have to dump on the St. Lucie, and we can get more water to those guys in the winter when they need it, the Everglades when they need it. That doesn't matter. We're going to sue to say we don't want any managerial changes. Doesn't matter that it doesn't cost a dime. That is totally political, and that is totally BS. We got to look at this holistically and make those acknowledgments.
Brian, you are like the voice for the state for when it comes to the water issue. That's the way we feel about it. Do you feel like the people on this side of the state are as loud as you are? Are they doing as much as they should be doing? The people that are in your position that have the power to do what you're doing?
Look, I've worked with some great people over there. Mayor Ruane, he and I have worked together, frequently. Others, like I said, Byron and I, we're just starting to work together. He's in his first couple months as a representative there, but, we're starting to make those friendships, talk about these things, how we can work together on those things. I'm hopeful that he's going to be a great partner, a great representative to go out there and work on these issues together with. And I think as your community go over there and talks to him and says, listen, this is what we need, this is what we don't need, I think he'll be responsive to you in that way. And that's my opinion about him so far, and I'm hopeful that that'll be the case. But it is absolutely political. I'd say this in this way. There's a lot of money that gets moved around the state of Florida, a lot of money that gets moved around federally for people that have nothing to do with our waterways, don't represent the waterways, don't come anywhere close to them. But you still see them going out there trying to cast opinions about the way that it should be managed, and that's because somebody's putting dollars in their pocket, and that's the wrong way for this country to be run, in my opinion.
So before we let you go, I have to ask you the question because you are for those of you that don't know, you should Google Congressman Brian Mast and make sure that you get on his congressional website and subscribe to his blog and watch some of his videos. He's a great American hero in addition to being a hero for us down here for the water. What is the morale of the troops right now, Congressman?
Look, I think there's a lot of questions about what's going on in the world. Are we going to bring some of these wars to a close, close down Afghanistan, bring people back home? We've seen, attacks going on over in Syria and other places. We see alignment with Iran, or looking to realign with Iran when the Trump administration helped move us out of what I thought was some really terrible deals. And what do we see as they're trying to realign with Iran? Iran talking about how they have cells across the United States of America and others. There's a lot of worries, I think, as it relates to international relations and what is going to be the strength of the U.S. I think you can see that on our southern border. I think you see what's going on with our National Guards men and women in Washington, D.C. and in the Capitol. There's some real questions with our service members right now for what is going to be the future role of the United States as a police entity, or as defending our country, or as individuals that just have to be worried about their rights being taken away from them as citizen soldiers, whether their rights to speak about what they want or defend their family and their home in the way that they want. And I think that hurts morale for our soldiers.
Congressman, thank you so much for your time. Thanks for coming on again. We appreciate it. You're always great to us, and safe travels home.
Thank you. Always good to talk to you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. Congressman
Bye-bye.
Brian Mast on his way back to Florida from Washington, D.C. He's awesome. Wish it was
So
on
they
this
were
side.
up there. They were up there. Soccer? No, ice hockey. What were
They told me earlier. His team told me that he had to get to an ice hockey game
Ice
with his
hockey,
kids. He
yeah.
said he had 3 kids, but anyway, it's always great to hear from him. Big
Mhm.
super advocate for the water, and I know that you're going to grab our next guest. And I wanted to get kind of back to the intro. I wanted to make sure we had him on there for the full 15 minutes. Again, we always love to thank our sponsors because they make the show happen, and that includes Island Oils, Fort Myers Tiki Tours, Nervous Nellies, Island IT Pro, who helped build our website, Mangaritas, State Insurance USA, Sun Palace Vacations, La Ola Restaurant, Tuckaway Cafe, Blue Ribbon Events, Sanibel Carts, Beach Pottery, and our home base sponsor, behind my back, dear. Behind my back, and our home base sponsor since August the 5th, 2018, Pete's Time Out. We are in episode number 155, and one of the issues that's taking place here on the beach, especially being that it's so crowded, are bicycles, motorized bicycles. I'm going to change cameras, dear, so we want to introduce our second guest. Lou, get that microphone nice and close, Lou, and say hello to everybody once I get you on the camera there. This is Lou. I want to make sure I say your name right, Lou. Lou Davia?
Davio.
Excellent. Well, thanks for
Davio.
coming on. We appreciate your time.
Thanks.
So tell us a little bit about yourself as we introduce you to the 9 listeners that we have.
Well, thanks for having me.
There you go.
This
Yeah,
close
yeah,
up,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm
close.
not used to doing radio,
That's
so
all right.
bear with me.
That's all right.
A little bit about myself. I'm a snowbird. I just retired this year, and I'm coming to live in Florida for the next, hopefully, 15, 20 years for just the winters.
And where did you say you came down from?
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Yeah, don't
Little
hold it
bit-
against me.
So Lou, last time I saw you, you were in front of the town council, right? You went, or you wrote a letter. Did you also speak at public?
I spoke the Monday. I think
Okay.
you were there Thursday.
Well, I watch on the YouTube. The
Sorry.
mayor would kick me out of City Hall if he saw me.
Well, I was there Monday. They give you 3 minutes to speak, so I
Right.
spoke for my 3 minutes.
Right. So you own a motorized bike, and before we talk about that, the rules on the beach are if you have a motorized bike, you're allowed to ride it in the road. You're not allowed to ride it on the beach. You're not supposed to be riding it on the sidewalk. So I went to drop off the stuff that we had for the community foundation this morning, and as I was coming out of the parking lot, somebody was coming down on the sidewalk on their motorized bike at 7:15 in the morning. And, luckily I saw, but it could have easily, because I was making a right and she was coming the other way on this side. She was riding the right way, but she was on the sidewalk. I mean, you really have it's a death wish on this road right now, no matter what, because of all the cars, the ins and outs, and the walking and the biking and the. Yesterday, I almost got run over by a motorized skateboarder.
Well,
So
I would contend that the person pulling out in front of you or almost hitting you today, it wouldn't matter if it's an electric bike or a regular bike. They can be just as rude.
True.
I don't mean to try to just defend electric bikes. Personally, I don't think any bike should be on the street. As I told you, to me,
On the sidewalk.
on the sidewalks. I think, if you're 6 years old and you got training wheels, okay, good, go on the sidewalk. Other than that, get it in the street. I think there's no place, electric or otherwise, on the sidewalks. But my contention is really the beach. That's what I'm concerned about.
And I don't mean to interrupt you, dear. You look like you're getting ready to say you're not really a bicyclist anymore. She's all right. Let me back up a little bit. I'm not going to retell the story of why she's not a bicyclist anymore. But one of the things that I think is the dumbest thing that I don't even understand is why there isn't a law that every time somebody gets on a bicycle, they have to wear a helmet. It just that makes no sense to me.
There's not a helmet law for motorcycles.
That's different.
Why
that's
do you
different.
think there would be one for
I
bicycles?
think that's suicide too. But I mean, having crashed several times on the bike, the helmet saves your life. It saved her life.
Yeah.
So
sure.
let's argue about the helmet first.
Right.
Did you wear a helmet today?
I did not.
Well, and you're on a motorized bike.
And my wife, who's, by the way, is a retired nurse, won't go across the street on her bike without a helmet.
She's smart.
I
Women are
believe that
smart, men are
helmets-
dumb.
I would not argue that. If it weren't for women, we'd still be living in caves. Let's be real.
Right.
The reality of it is, I think it's a personal choice. I don't want somebody telling me I have to or do not want. I don't know if there's a law that should dictate that.
Did you wear a mask the last few months? It's the same friggin' thing.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I only wear it when I have to. Look, I don't want to take up all your time.
I know.
I'd be happy to go off on a tangent. The reality of it is, the way I look at it, if a private business tells me I can't come in without a mask, I am happy to comply.
Okay.
I will comply. I won't say
Got
I'm happy. But I think they have every right to do that.
But do you?
If a government tells me I have to wear a mask, I have a big problem.
Right,
with that.
right. So do I.
So
but
that's just me.
The thing about the helmets, though, you don't have to be going 3 or 4 miles an hour. You hit a rock the wrong way and land on your head.
Yep.
You could be seriously injured.
I do believe.
Do you
that.
not wear it? My daughter won't wear a helmet because she thinks it makes her look uncool.
I'm not worried about the uncoolness.
Why won't you wear a helmet?
It's uncomfortable.
It's
I've tried
uncomfortable?
several that they feel hot on my head. I just don't like it.
Okay.
I just don't like the helmet.
All right.
All right.
I just don't like it. So
what you're here to talk about
yes.
is getting the
Greg, I don't know
permission
what
to
you're
have
talking about.
motorized bicycles on the beach.
On the beach.
Okay.
And I would contend, though, I would be very careful when we say motorized bicycles. It's a motor. It's an electric motor. It's a helper motor. I'm not
It's an
talking-
assist.
It's an assist.
Wait. A motor is a motor.
Agreed.
So what are you trying to thread the needle there with? That you're trying to say it's not a motor?
I think when we talk motorized.
How far can you ride it without pedaling?
Oh, I could probably ride it 20 miles without pedaling if I wanted to.
Okay.
But
Before you have to have it charged?
Yeah, probably.
Can you charge your bike at one of those Tesla things
No.
over? No, that would be
Regular
nice,
110
right?
outlet. That's basic 110 outlet.
Oh.
That's all it is.
Do you carry a plug with you just
No.
in case you run
No,
out of
because
juice?
it's a whole charger.
Oh, okay. So,
big
what
box.
did you ask a
I
question or
was
are you
asking
filibustering?
about. Am I?
Yeah.
I was asking about on the beach. So you want to get the clearance, the go ahead to ride on the beach because right now you don't. So what
Exactly.
is your point for why they should change it?
Here's what I think.
Okay.
From my perspective, it makes absolutely no difference whether a bike has a motor assisting an old guy with bad legs
Mm-hmm.
or it's a young guy with strong legs with no motor. There is absolutely no difference. The bike doesn't weigh but maybe 10 pounds more because of the battery. It's no taller, it's no bigger, it's no wider than a standard bicycle. It's the person driving it. It's responsibility by the person. Now, I know you can't legislate common sense. I know that.
Mhm.
I understand that. But you can do things to change the law as written. That section, I think, is 2882. That section of the ordinance as written does nothing to enhance public safety. If the safety of the little kids on the beach is the issue, and I truly believe it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I'm not talking about the sidewalks here, the beach
Right.
itself. if it's the safety of the little kids on the beach that we're worried about, we need to get all bikes off the beach at certain times, not just electric bikes, all bikes.
Well,
But if we look at, because I tell you, I ride bikes all the time. I ride on these paved bike trails. I got guys in spandex running by me like I'm standing still.
Mm-hmm.
I'm riding 10, 12 miles an hour. They're by me 20 easily.
Right.
My biggest contention is if we get a fair, open-minded city council, and some of them are, if we get fair, open-minded hearing to at least discuss and banter back and forth, how can we actually enhance public safety? If the bottom line is I don't want any bikes on the beach ever, hey, I can live with that. But we need to look at it logically. We can't just say electric bikes go too fast, because electric bike's not going to go any faster than a regular bike, given a good, strong guide. You could pedal a bike easily 20 miles an hour. I guarantee you that.
No.
A
Yeah.
bike with a skinny tire.
no.
Yeah.
So-
right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, look at you.
for
Come on.
sure.
So let me.
But I don't know on the beach. Now is there any data about any accidents or close calls or anything on the beach?
Really good point. There's a lot of
I get a ring for the bell for that.
All right. Well, there's a lot of anecdotal evidence, I
Okay.
believe, because every single person on the city council had their scare story about almost getting run over by an electric bike.
Well, not every
On
council.
the beach?
Well,
No, they're walking on the
Okay.
sidewalk.
on the
Okay,
sidewalks
okay.
mostly.
But you're
So,
not
I don't care about
you're
the
not
sidewalks.
right. Okay.
I don't care about the sidewalks. I like to do sand sculptures. I go down the beach and I play on the beach like a big kid.
Right.
Yeah.
My wife likes to ride her bike on the beach.
So let me throw a couple things at you. Weren't bicycles made for exercise?
Yes.
Okay, so there should be a law that you're not allowed to have a motor on a bicycle.
thing-
It's the dumbest invention ever.
No,
I mean, there
here's the
shouldn't be
thing.
motorized
But
bicycles.
the motorized bike, let me just a little answer. The motorized bike allows people who physically can't get to that level. At least it allows them entry into the sport.
That's
And
called
then they-
call a cab.
No,
Well, let me interject if I may.
please
My wife-
do,
my
because
wife
somebody's
is
going to get
68
it.
years old.
Uh-huh.
She cannot get over the bridge coming onto the beach without an electric bike. She just can't do it. Yet she likes to get the exercise. And there's probably some misconceptions
Thank
about
you.
electric bikes.
Thank you.
Electric bikes, there are a class of electric bikes that you have a throttle. Mine actually has a throttle. I never use it because I'm typically riding with my wife. There are a class that has a throttle that you cannot pedal and you can still go. Most electric bikes are what's called motor assist, which means if you're not pedaling, you're not going anywhere.
Well,
You
that
are
was my
literally
question to
not
you, but
going anywhere.
now it
You must
Right.
pedal. So you do get exercise. It allows us to get out and enjoy the fresh air. It allows us to get out and
Yeah.
exercise and pedal.
I'm sorry. I
we
think
have to pedal in
Yeah.
order to make it go.
you should get like a bicycle built for two. That would help you both get across the bridge, right? You're both working it.
well,
You know, you
then
get
it's
it in,
two
you get it in
people.
low gear,
I mean,
and you do a little of the extra work when she can't. When you can't, there you go. Your bicycle built for two.
Well,
Give it a go.
Change. Let's not.
do
call
you
them
use
bicycles.
a power mower? Do you use a gas powered mower to
You
mow the
saw
lawn?
my lawnmower. I
Okay.
mean, it's
All
like
right, but it's gas powered. Are you suggesting you should just get out there with a manual mower and start mowing the grass?
dear, I'm not running my lawnmower up and down the beach or on the
I know, but I've watched you
Boulevard.
not pay attention and go right out into the
Oh,
road
please,
and,
that thing,
take little children
that cheap piece
possibly
of
out.
crap doesn't go that fast. It breaks
So-
down.
So
Go
let's
ahead.
look at something else.
Yeah,
We have quite
What?
a few bicycle shops up and down Estro Boulevard.
Yeah.
Some rent electric bikes, some do not.
yeah.
I would put a call out to some of these guys that rent electric bikes because they have a vested interest in this. They ought to make a demo day for all the city council members and the mayor and the vice mayor. They ought to bring an electric bike downtown, down to the town hall, and say, "Get on this electric bike and drive it around."
Yeah.
I think there's a big misconception. I think these people think that electric bikes go fast,
Like a moped.
like a moped, like
Okay.
they go fast. Well, of course they can go fast. You on a regular bike can go fast.
Oh,
Right.
I
okay.
can't do that.
What
It's
about
not the speed that's hurting. It's not the whether the motor or the legs power the bike. It's the speed that counts.
Here's
so
what
what
I,
about advocating for a speed limit then?
Yes,
Okay.
absolutely. A
how
reasonable
are you going to
speed
do that?
limit.
Who's going to enforce that? Who's
Well,
going to enforce that?
Who enforces
enforces that on
The
everything?
Estro
guy with the
Boulevard.
DB meter that's trying to enforce the sound. Now he's going to have a speedometer on him when you're going by with the
Yeah,
bikes. It's
the gun,
crazy talk
the
right
power
there.
gun.
It's
Well,
crazy.
I think you could. Well, let me go backwards then. I've ridden on a lot of different beaches in Florida.
Yeah.
Florida is one of the states that allows that in most communities. they mostly have a 10-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Okay.
Everywhere from St. Augustine down to the Keys, and on this.
And how is that enforced?
So-
How do you even know
Well,
that?
I think they don't. But
Okay.
here's the thing: how do you enforce it on Estro Boulevard?
Well, what do you mean? The bikes?
No, cars.
The police officers are parked there. I mean, I think they're looking for cars more than they're looking for bikes.
But are they out there with a radar gun, or are they just kind of they see a guy operating
That's a
recklessly?
good. I
and
think
moving
sometimes they
clearly
have a
too
gun.
fast?
Sometimes they have a gun.
I think
So here's what I think the solution is. I don't think there should be any bikes on the beach because I mean, why are you riding your bike on the beach? Because you're people watching. You're not riding on the beach to get exercise. You want to see girls in bikinis, and
Wow.
not you, but
Oh no,
I mean-
I do.
I mean,
Oh,
you're really
wow.
you're not. I mean, seriously, you're riding on the beach so you can look at people. That's what.
You
You're
are
not-
really making a lot of assumptions.
Let me
I
take it a
do
step
not think
further.
that's true.
I'll take it a
Of
step
course, it's
further.
true.
I don't think
I'll
it
take it a
is.
step
All
further.
right.
If I'm riding on the beach and I look to the left and I see the beautiful ocean,
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, okay.
If I look to the right and I see beautiful women, I like that too.
Okay. There you
I'm-
go.
I'm
The
not-
truth is out
I'm not
there.
dead. I'm old, but I'm not dead.
All right. So I think that
But-
where there's some confusion on Estero Boulevard is all the nice construction that's being done on the other end. There's bike lanes and
Yes.
it's crystal clear where you're supposed to be, no matter what kind of bike you're riding. Now, if you're a dumbass and you're riding in the wrong direction on any bike, I've seen that. It's like you're waiting to get hit by a car
Agreed.
because you who knows? Everybody knows you ride the bike with the traffic and you run against the traffic because you can jump out of the way. You're not jumping out of the way when you're coming at a car 20 miles an hour. But the confusion, I think, is when you start riding this way in Estero Boulevard, there's no bike lane. It's not their fault. There's no room. So you're getting up on the sidewalk because you don't want to get hit by the car. Or you get, and then you're thinking, okay, well, I must be allowed to ride on the sidewalk down here because there's nowhere to ride. But you're supposed to be in the road. All bikes should be in the road.
Agreed. And in fact, that there's no bike lane doesn't matter. They actually have pictures of bicycles painted on the
Right,
street,
right.
and it says share the road.
Right.
Get the damn bike on the road.
Right.
Get it off the sidewalk. I have no problem with that. We have no argument.
Yeah, I think if
It
they
I don't
goes
notice,
think-
into the beach, and as the beach is concerned, if we're looking at the safety of little kids, and again, I don't argue that we need to look at that. I agree,
what?
but what we could also look at is some common sense rules. I was down here in January. The beach is nearly deserted. Maybe we look at a time frame in either.
Keep going.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
I thought I was talking. So maybe we look at a time frame. Maybe we say between 10 and 4, you can't ride any bike on the street. Don't single out electric bikes. Any bike. And I'm sorry, I said
There you
street,
go.
I meant beach. You can't ride any bike on the beach between 10 and 4. And I don't know the hours. I'm not an expert on this. We could say you can't ride
so during
on
the
beach.
busy, assuming
busy
those
stuff.
are the busy times.
Right. And
Okay.
assuming, let's say, from, I don't know, March through October, you
Right.
can't ride any bike. But don't single out electric bikes. Make it all.
No,
bikes.
I don't think there should be any bikes on the beach. I just think there are too many kids that are just darting around and that
I know,
some
but
kids are going to get
I
run
don't
over
think
by a
that- I
bike.
think that a time frame would be
It's
a
reasonable.
nice reason. Yes, because
Right.
I don't think there's a lot of kids darting out at between 8 in the morning and 10 in the morning.
Did you know that
or
every
in
t-
the evening?
Did you know that every time you ride a bike on the
More
beach,
than-
this is in the ordinance, you have to have a light on the front, a light on the back, and some kind of alarm or buzzer. It can't be a whistle.
Capable of at least 50 decibels, and they can't be
All right,
obnoxious.
that's a part of that's part of an ordinance. Now,
Yeah.
who's enforcing that? During
Nobody.
the day, your lights need to be.
And-
I mean, I'm not. I agree with that. I have my bike is like a Christmas tree every time I ride it because I think the more you're seen, the safer you're going to be. And I
Okay.
wear a helmet, and I wear a face mask, and I wear a plated shield on my chest in case I fall. Well, and a mouthpiece. Oh wait, that's you. She rode her bike into the back of a parked car.
No, it was a car who ran out of gas
Parked
and
in the
did
bike
not
lane.
get out of the road. And
So-
I came around a corner.
But dear, this
and
isn't
it was
about
there.
us. Please
Well, you-
stick to the subject.
You brought it up. You made me sound stupid.
So, where were we? What were we talking
You were
about?
on your
Yeah.
diatribe of
Yeah.
bikes.
And again, I would contend that whether it's an electric bike or a regular bike, it makes absolutely no difference. If you're going to get one off the street, off the beach, get them all off the beach.
So
But I
what?
think we could reasonably say that before 10 o'clock in the morning and after 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it's probably safe. We could probably agree that there are months in the year where it makes no difference because there's very few people on the beach. And I think if we could have that reasonable discussion with City Hall or Town Hall in this case,
Yeah.
I think if people would approach it with an open mind, what happens is they have their preconceived ideas, they have their anecdotal evidence, and they have to defend that position rather than opening their mind and having a fair discussion.
Wait,
That's what concerns
I
me.
want to just to kind of address what Tim posted on we got some comments here. Your big hit today.
Gee, thanks.
Tim said there's so much room on the beach. If you can't avoid others, you shouldn't be driving a car, let alone a bike. But in certain places down here, there's not a
Well,
lot
at
of room.
high
Now,
tide- at high tide,
now the other
there's
end of the
not,
beach for sure,
I
right?
would agree.
Yeah.
I don't argue that. But again, there's where you have to look at the times of day.
See, so why don't we do
Be
this?
reasonable.
Why don't we do this? We'll create our own ordinance. Like you go down a certain part and then you say no biking past here. You see, then nobody would go for that because they can't people watch because the people they want to watch are all down here, right?
I don't
So you
think
walk your
that's
bike.
true.
But
Yeah.
All right.
I think the biggest thing is get all bikes off the beach when it's busy.
Yeah.
And how do you know when it's busy? Well, you can't go out there
During
every day.
season.
You can't
Yeah.
count people. But we don't need to hire an engineering firm to do a
Right.
fancy study.
Right.
You go talk to the guys that rent beach chairs. You think they don't know when it's
You
busy?
got a New York accent going there
Well,
too.
he's
You
from
I know, but it
Massachusetts.
sounds like a little bit of
No.
New York going there.
I spent
Yeah.
a long time on Long Island.
Do you have a
Maybe
road
that's it.
bike without a motor too?
I don't have one. I haven't ridden a bike since I was a kid.
Oh
And
wow!
then I got old last year. Me and my wife went bought electric bikes because
How much does an electric bike cost?
1,500, 2,000,
Uh-huh.
25. You can spend a ton of money on them
Oh
if you
really?
want to.
Yeah.
You can spend a lot more than what I spent.
Do you bring it in the house
Wow.
at the end of the night so it doesn't get rusty? Or
Not so it doesn't get rusty, so it doesn't disappear.
oh, that's true. There are a lot
Yeah,
of bike
there's been
thefts
a
down here on
lot
the
of-
beach.
yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of that.
I've heard.
Well,
So what's your next step?
yeah.
You know, I was kind of hoping somebody could tell me. I am not a political activist.
Keep going to
this
the
is my
meetings. You have
first
to. You're
time-
allowed to. You're allowed to
just-
speak at the beginning of the meeting and the end of the meeting.
Well,
If you want to sit through all that boredom,
Yeah,
that's up to you. But you can say something different at the beginning and you can at the end, and the squeaky
Well, I
wheel
guess-
gets the
Is
the
there
grease.
a group
Here's the
of
question.
people that maybe you need to start a little
Start a bike club.
bike club, and then
You could be the president. I'll be the vice
There we
president.
go. I've never
She'll be
been
the
a
first
big
lady.
activist. I've never been in City Hall except that one day.
Look at you being the bicycle
But
activist.
I'll tell you, my wife loves driving on the beach. I'm doing this for her because when we come
See?
down next year, we wanna be able to have her ride on the beach. But January, when it's not busy, she won't ride on the beach when there's a bunch of kids there.
Yeah.
Here's my point. How do we make this go forward? I can go and speak for 3 minutes. Somebody on the
I
city
think you
council.
need more people.
That's right.
Well,
You need-
somebody
need
on
more
the city
people.
council can bring it up and get shot down by the
That's
other
what
people
that's
on
what
the
happened
city
last
council.
week. Dan Allers brought it up. He wanted to have the discussion at a regular council meeting, and I think it was the vice mayor and maybe it was Councilman Veach didn't want it to come up anymore. They like the ordinance the way it is.
So what is the next step? I just don't know.
More
Do we-
people.
more
Let's
people-
organize. Let's organize. We'll have a meeting with cupcakes and beer and have a meeting down the road.
No, I think that's
Listen, I'm going to advocate for helmets, so
Legitimately,
you might not want me in your club.
I don't care. I'm wide open to discussion. I don't come into this with a closed mind. I
Uh-huh.
truly don't. If they do an open discussion and we get shot down, I get shot down. I live with it.
I'll
Right.
organize the meeting if everybody that comes to the meeting wears a helmet.
Well,
To
it's
the
your
meeting.
meeting. It's your meeting. I'll wear the freaking helmet to get there if I have to.
All right, Dan. Thanks for coming on, man. We
Thanks
gotta
for having me.
get
I
our
really do
next.
appreciate
We
it.
could talk about bicycles the whole day.
Do you want to, I don't know, give out an email if people are interested in supporting and joining your cause?
I would if you'd like me to.
Yeah, go right ahead.
All right. My email is Wall Brace Plans.
Well, now what the hell is that?
at
Wall
gmail.com.
brace plans.
So it's WALLBRACEPLANS. All one word at gmail.com.
Is there a
That has
story
to do
behind
with
that next
work.
time you
That
come
has
on?
to do with work.
Consulting work.
Yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
I'm
All right.
retired, but I
Well, thanks so much for coming on, Dan. You've
Thank
been
you very
awesome,
much.
man. Good luck with the
Thank you
bike
so
and
much.
Appreciate it.
I'll get yourself a helmet. I'll buy you a helmet for
I
Christmas.
got one. I just don't wear it.
We've got
Thanks
four.
again.
All right. We have one more segment coming up, folks. And before that, we are going to tell you about the Fort Myers Tiki Tours. And now taking it over to tell you more about the Fort Myers Tiki Tours, the folks that have been here for the longest time as a sponsor, then Pete's is is Kim Ryan.
You're going to make me be in their way. So Fort Myers Tiki Tours, located behind Parrot Key Caribbean Grill. FortMyersTikiTours.com. Their phone number is 239-887-0042. And what they offer is an amazing trip. 90 minutes. Nice slow ride down through the bay on a beautiful little tiki boat. Seats up to 6 people. You can bring your own food and whatever you want to drink. They supply the captain and a cooler and ice. So if you have an event coming up, spring break is coming up, you want to go out with your friends, you want to go out with coworkers, you know, any celebration they can accommodate. There's 4 people is $119.99. 6 people is $179.99, and that's total for the boat, not per person. They also have sunset cruises, which are only $20 more. I did have a little conversation with Craig, who's one of the owners of the Fort Myers Tiki Tours. He's coming down soon, dear. Craig is coming down soon, so we're going to have him on the
talked to him
on
the other
show.
day. Very nice.
But yeah, he's a great owner. They have a great service there. So give them a call at 239-887-0042.
All right, before we get to Bev and Roland, I want to tell you about Beach Pottery, 17980 San Carlos Boulevard. You know, they got pots. They got pots from everywhere, especially Vietnam. And if you don't own a pot from Vietnam, man, then you don't own a real pot. You can get in touch with them at 239-437-4211, or you can stop by when you're stuck in traffic trying to get over to the beach during season, because they're right on the right-hand side at that corner there. I wish I knew the name of the roads over there, but it's San Carlos Boulevard for sure. They have pots, planters of every size from $5 to $500, indoors and outdoors, and of course, imported from Vietnam. Alana purchases directly from the manufacturers, so they have the best pricing in town.
Lots of other stuff too. They have wood sculptures, they have outdoor furniture, they have a bunch of things to choose from. But I mean, you just go there and see everything that's there is amazing.
All righty. And again, the phone number is 437-4211. Beach Pottery. Alana and Kurt. All right, come on in, Beverly and Roland, the owners of the Myerside Resort. And I was lucky enough to get the tour yesterday. I'm going to squeeze everybody in here. Yeah, that's why I came to the beach. Make sure we get Bev in there rather than me. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Nice and close. It's on. Yes, you are all on. Very nice.
You're on, and it's clean.
Everything is clean. We clean the microphones every Saturday night after the show, and blow dry them. I blow dry them so that they're nice and warm. So, but you want to get the microphone nice and close.
You got to come down and see everything.
Beverly invited me to come down to show me the layout of everything that's going on there, and we'll talk about that. But the first thing I want to tell you is when I was coming over the bridge, of course, the traffic is crazy to begin with, luckily, because it's nice to see everybody so busy. But you know, when the fire engines need to get somewhere, it's like nearly impossible. And there was a call down. It looked like it was one of the condos down there. So they were coming over the bridge and they were going every which way. And, you know, the guy in the front tried to get out of the way and he had a little car and he didn't get out of the way in time. And I think it was like one of the firemen that has a SUV clipped him in the front. So, you know, now the traffic is stopped there. All it takes is a little accident on there. But I digress. Tell us a little bit.
I apologize.
Sorry. Tell us a little bit about the history of Myerside.
And that had nothing to do with why you're here, but hey, so tell us about the history of the resort.
Okay.
Let me check that while Roland's going. Go ahead, Roland.
We bought Myerside 8 years ago, 2013. The first half acre with 3 buildings. And at the time when we bought it, it was extremely run down. It was people called it ground zero for drugs and alcohol and
was it
heroin
at that
trade.
time being operated as a
No.
Okay.
No,
what was
they were apartments.
They were apartments.
Well,
I
flop
guess-
houses, really.
Yeah,
I mean, they were,
there's super
couches
high
were being rented
turnovers
out.
and, yeah, we had, you know, there was a puppy mill in one of the rooms. There there
a
was
lot of
yeah
a lot of drugs, a lot of
What is the zoning for drug house and puppy mill? Is that in the is that in the town's code or?
Because that's in a residential area, yes or no?
yeah. Oh,
residential
well, I
conservation.
mean, it's zoned RC right now, which is
Okay.
why we're going to have that zone
Residential? I forgot.
conservation,
Yeah.
I believe.
Yeah.
changed.
So
But that at the time was across from the school,
right.
Yeah.
That-
Right,
so it's very
you-
dangerous.
The way
Right.
that for those of you that don't know the property, there's part of it that's right on Estero Boulevard that if you were driving by, you wouldn't even know there was a school behind it. But as you get closer to the back end of your resort, it's closer to the school. So back in the
Right.
day when it was a drug den and there were just homeless people sleeping there, that sounds pretty dangerous close to a
Yeah.
school to me.
That
Well,
was right beside the school.
That and then the surrounding area too, right? So that they were living in the mangroves. Some are still there, way back in the mangroves down by Bay Oaks and the rafters and wherever. It was very dangerous.
So you guys buy it in 2013 and you live in one of the units
Yeah.
because it's residential, but you're thinking about cleaning it up. And tell us a little bit about what you told me yesterday about what happened to you guys.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, we lived in one of the units and then proceeded to remodel them one at a time. And
Well, within
there
2
was-
weeks, my life was
was-
threatened
yeah,
by
and-
one of the
Residents.
people that were there.
residents, they threatened to burn the buildings down. Yeah.
Wow.
We're
Yeah,
gonna
they
burn
threatened
the- if you yeah.
One of them thought that they could not pay rent and by making an argument to that their suite was flooded, and they actually tried to
Flood their
have
own
the ceiling
suite.
fall in, and it took a chunk of our soul, I think, to in that first year to renovate and clean it up, and we were still picking up needles
Oh,
that first year, and
Yeah.
even 3, 4, 5 years later, people were coming to site, arriving at Island and walking in, and we would go,
Looking
"Can we
for
help you?"
drugs.
And they
Right.
were, or a couch, or a
I used
piece
to
of
sleep in
floor.
that cabin or on
Yeah.
that floor.
So how long did it take from the time you bought it to the time you felt like the riffraff was out?
Well, we bought it in 2013 and we renovated for the year.
got
And
in
we,
January, and then we opened up our first couple of rooms the
14th.
following year.
Yeah.
yeah,
for
14th
season.
of February. It was
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
That sounds
On-
like
in
Valentine's
14.
Day.
So because I haven't gotten down there, but is it cottages that people are renting then?
It's 2-bedroom suites, and they're large. Of
But
course.
they're freestanding
They're
buildings,
Yes.
right? Okay.
Some of
Yeah.
them are cottages. There's a quad there, and there's a duplex as well.
But
And
they're all cottages.
Yeah, and they're all
little
built a
homes.
long time ago. It's very pretty.
So you
But that was the first
preserved
half.
so they're original buildings that you redid.
Yeah, the
Yes.
goal was to preserve and bring back the original cottage nature of the building. So we got some beautiful floors and just really
The
some
charm.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
charm.
yeah.
Yeah.
so at that point, you're thinking of expanding to different parts of the property there, or the property in the front you didn't know. You own the
No.
property, so
Right.
take us through
Yeah.
that, and then we'll fast forward to where we are now.
We were just concentrating on our little half. That's what we had. That's all we thought we would have. We didn't even think about the next half, which came up. The neighbor approached us, and
Now this is what's his name again?
Don Nyman.
Don Nyman. And now let me tell a quick story because the mayor brought Don's name up a couple meetings, maybe it was a meeting or two ago. And Don owned the property in the front facing Estero Boulevard, and he wanted to build something on there, and it went before the council, and they voted against it. Correct?
In 1996, it was the very first application before
no kidding.
council, the new town. So-
Okay, so they vote no against it, and I think Don, at least the mayor's version of it was Don said to him, "You're going to want me back here. You're going to want something back," because it was nasty, and he felt
Yeah,
like he
it
was
was
going to
pretty
make it better. Do you remember what he wanted to build there that he was asking a permit for?
Well, we actually just recently found out what he wanted
Okay.
to build there, and it was a strip mall
Okay,
with 14 units on top of it
okay, so that would have been high
on the
yeah,
half acre,
yeah.
on just half of it.
the
Oh.
Estero fronting half acre.
So it was probably a good idea that
Well,
you know,
certainly,
who knows? You never know.
certainly Ray felt it was a good
Yeah.
idea at the time.
So Ray was the only one that voted the other way. Like they denied it, but he wanted it. Is that how it went?
As I understand it, yeah.
All right. So now we're at a position where you bought it. You bought the property up front.
Yeah, we bought it in 2018, and so it took quite a while to clean it up.
Yeah.
You know, just the yard alone, and so we were able to go through it and clean it up, and we worked on one of the units, one of the suites, and we just began to assess, well, how do we integrate all of this into the bed and breakfast? We got our bed and breakfast on the other half in 2015. How do we integrate it, and what's best for the heart of the island? And in doing so, we realized that the whole island was gentrifying and being cleaned up.
Google that
and
later,
homes
dear.
were being, homes were being rebuilt, and it's a beautiful area now,
Yeah.
and it's ready for what the comp plan called for,
Right.
which is the heart of the island and the walkway corridor over to Bay Oaks and the Matanzas Past Preserve and Historical Cottage and library and all these things. But there's nothing there. There's no place to get a beverage. There's no place to sit down and have a beer and that sort of thing. So that's why we came up with the concept that we came up with for the property as a whole.
Right. And you brought the big guns out. You brought Beverly Grady, who really knows government law. She's an attorney here. And Patrick Van Ness, who now is on the LPA, but he's a planner or an engineer, or could be all of the above. And they presented your case to the LPA, a very detailed case. And then the town is opposed to it. Jason Green or Roger or the whole group of them over there, they put on a piss poor defense of why you shouldn't have it. And the count and the LPA, Megan especially, felt like you guys aren't giving us any reason to shoot it down. And it was approved unanimously 6-0, I think, because Patrick obviously had to recuse himself because he was on the other side pitching it. So what is it that you're asking for?
Well, we're asking. Oh, go ahead.
We're asking to. The basic bottom line is we're asking for a small boutique retail store and a small
Like for
bistro.
toothpaste and deodorant.
sundries
Things
and
made in
things
Florida.
for the hotel.
Cool.
And
Right.
Things made
strictly
in
made
Florida.
in Florida.
Right.
Yeah.
If it's not made in Florida, it won't be in our store,
So,
except for toothpaste, maybe. And that would be in one of the cottages that exists.
Mhm.
We're not making
Sterile
anything new,
fronting.
right on a sterile. And then another one of the small cottages, a small bistro restaurant serving beer and wine.
Phyllis, this
Do-
property, I'm going to answer Phyllis's question. It's down by the library, by Bay Oaks, by the Sea Grape Plaza. Turn a left on School Street, and you can't miss it. Sorry.
yeah, it's the whole acre adjacent to the town pool parking lot.
Yep.
Do you envision the bistro serving exclusively the resort or open to everybody? I mean, what would you think the makeup of that would be?
So the restaurant is in the north corner, a sterile facing of the property in a little cottage, and there will be a little deck. And so it would be you purchase your beer or wine, and you will go and drink it either in the bistro or on the deck. And
Similar to Tuckaway Cafe, the way they're
Yeah.
set up now.
yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't even look like the property as big as theirs is, where I mean, you couldn't put as many chairs out there as they have.
Yeah, and the other
No,
thing.
we could not.
The other thing is, we are a resort and we've got this amazing courtyard, and we invite
Yeah.
anybody to come down and
You guys
sit.
should go look at it.
Yeah. And so we want to have weddings there and that sort of thing. And in the event that our guests are having a wedding there, we want to be able to serve them beer and wine if we're catering.
Yeah.
Right.
If we want to serve alcohol, like,
Liquor.
hard liquor, then we would get a special events permit like anybody else.
So the LPA approves it. Now you have to go to the town council for two public hearings in order for it to be passed. And just so people know, if you're looking out, if you're down on Estero Boulevard and you're sitting on the deck there, you're looking, again, it's a people watching thing that I think people love. you hardly even know there's a school behind them. And the other thing that's important is obviously the objection that is being made has to do with the alcohol being served there. There are two other businesses, and this isn't to call them out because they're doing it legally in the Seagrape Plaza. There's a Mexican restaurant, and our friends at the Island Pancake, they're serving beer and wine, and it seems to be working out okay. It doesn't seem to have little kids from the elementary school drifting over and getting all sloshed up and falling over drunk.
I know,
Sorry.
but honestly, we're not here to alt event. We're here to educate the town residents on what this project is, and we want to preserve these cottages. I mean, that's the whole reason why we're doing it. We want the opportunity to be able to preserve the existing in the rest of the cottages, bring back those floors, and keep it as this little snapshot of Fort Myers Beach back in the day. And so we've heard crazy things like, oh, you're building a 14-story apartment we're not doing any of those things. We're not doing anything more than what's there, with the exception of bringing another historical cottage, hopefully, if not another two, but to the property.
Right. And so for people that don't know, because it wasn't clear to me during any of the meetings, is you're looking at, there's a cottage or two in different places that are going to be knocked down.
Yeah.
That you're looking at saving them, picking them up and moving them on the property.
Right.
And one of the things that Dan Hughes said, and Dan's been around a long time, and he probably, created the part of the plan back in the day. I'm guessing he was part of the whole comprehensive plan. He said this is exactly what the intent of the comprehensive plan was back then, to preserve the cottages, because, I mean, no offense to anybody else, but there aren't many cottages left around anymore. That's just not the way things are going.
Yeah.
So
it's really important that people understand this is not what some of the media is saying, that it's a bar or that we're developers or any of these things. The facts are that nothing will change on the property short of a restaurant, a stereo fronting, and a boutique store. And a parking lot in between.
One of the other things that I want you to address, thanks, John, for bringing it up, was that there was an argument about amplification of music. And I think even the mayor was like, the amplification of music might throw the kids off in the school, or if the windows are open and it's a nice, cool day, the music is going to be so loud that the kids won't be able to concentrate. I'm paraphrasing there, but that was kind of the thing. And the first thing I thought was, geez, we used to walk to school in our bare feet, because we didn't have sneakers, and now the poor kids have to worry about music being played while they're trying to do their math problems. But anyway, so when I was over there, there's no loud music being played. But people need to know it's not the Lani Kai. It's a family kind of resort where people with families are coming down. When I was there, I was I was gawking, I guess, at some of your guests, but they have their pets. They brought their pets with them, and so it's a different kind of animal down there.
Yeah, we're definitely a family resort. And we're there, and we have this amazing, extraordinary staff. They're all like family, and we're all there, and we interact with the guests. And
the guests, I mean, I'm imagining a lot of your guests as repeat customers.
Yeah, some of them are here. Some of them are over
and
here.
So, and you don't have a place to serve, beer and wine now, but they can bring what they want. Correct.
Sure.
I mean, and it hasn't been. My point is, it hasn't been an issue in the past. It's not like you're getting a raucous crowd down there, and so
we have been operating.
The idea that this would change that at all, it doesn't. I don't see that that's going to turn into the next, hot spot for wild and crazy behavior. So I mean, it just. I don't see the objection myself.
I just really encourage people to get the facts, and we're available. We're on site. Come by anytime between 10 and 3, and we're guaranteed to be there. And
we'd
seriously,
be happy to show anybody around.
You can experience it, and you can see firsthand what we're talking about. And don't believe everything that you're reading. It's not true.
Can I ride my motorized
And-
bicycle down to your place from here? It'd probably be quicker.
Yeah. And
I fell.
listen,
It was
you
dead.
know, we've always been very, very community minded, and
For sure.
we want to benefit the community, and that's where this started.
And the neighbor, you have a neighbor who spoke up in favor of. I mean, if anyone was going to be ticked off about the loud music and the craziness, it would be your next door neighbor, and
Yep.
you got to let her support.
We've got support of our neighbors and those that you know, those other neighbors we want to encourage to come over and tell her about the woman that came by yesterday. Tell them.
Yeah, there was every day I see this lady walking her dog, and somebody, I think it was one of our staff, said, yeah, she lives across the street. So I saw her walking by yesterday, and I went out and I started chatting with her, and I go, do you know about the project that we're doing here? He goes, oh yeah. And I described what it was. I took her in the yard, I walked her around, and she had no idea that what we were doing
Really?
was what was said we were doing. It was a very different
Who's spreading the rumors?
interpretation.
It's not
I
us.
don't-
No, it's not you guys.
Oh.
No.
Yeah.
We'll
Um,
squash
She
that.
thought it was gonna be a new hotel and
Yeah.
and a bar, which is it's
And she
it was
actually
never going to be a bar.
She actually said to me that a friend of hers had stayed at Myerside and that she didn't want it to change for
Yeah.
the experience. And I said, that's exactly
Oh,
why
I
we're
got
doing
you.
what
Yeah,
we're doing.
I see. Well,
Right.
is there anything else out there that you want to clear up that maybe people don't understand? I mean,
Or
that-
reiterate
Yeah.
what,
Yeah.
you know, because I think that's what happens too, is he's yammering on and your
Right.
point gets lost. See, he said, right.
One thing is it's not a tiki bar. It never
Okay.
was a tiki bar.
right? There's no bar out
There's
there.
no bar. There's no. It's
So
it's,
myth number one,
it's-
Number one, it's not
It's a
bar.
tiki hut.
it's not
an open thing with a tiki roof on it. There's a couch in there, a couple of chairs, a table, and a foosball table.
And it's for our guests.
It's
Yeah,
for-
yeah, that's the first thing I
oh,
thought,
I'm
dear.
coming down.
But you can't. They're
Foosball, I
100%
am
full right now. You
there.
can't.
Yeah.
And that's a huge one.
And myth number two,
Two.
we're not developers.
Yeah, we're not
We're
developers.
not developers.
It's
We're
just the two of us
simply, yeah,
trying to.
Yeah.
trying to do this.
And you're
make
not
a living.
building
No.
a
No.
multi-story. You're not building really
No.
anything.
Building
But there will
anything.
be changes. There'll be, if you move things around, there's going to be a
Right.
parking lot for the people that stay
We're-
there.
Yeah.
A positive change is the parking. Most of the parking will be moved inside the
Right.
property.
Inside
Yeah.
two
So
So
buildings.
Estero Boulevard won't have any cars backing
won't
So
up.
be
there's a
backing
fact. The
Yeah.
fact of moving it in. The
Yeah.
fact is that
Yeah.
you're going to be getting other saving cottages that
Cottages.
would otherwise
Be destroyed.
be destroyed.
That the whole Estero front of that property will be cleaned up and
Yeah.
beautiful,
Yeah.
just like the rest of the property
Very
that
nice.
we've had the pleasure of cleaning up.
And there's one more public hearing, folks. So if you want to go and support your neighbor down here and somebody that's trying to save the cottages, it's going to be April the 5th.
April 5th.
And you have 3 minutes to speak. So you should get in touch with Bev and Roland and talk to them, or maybe go down there and get a tour and then show up to the council meeting on the 5th, because if it passes on the 5th, you're good to go, right?
Yes. And if you have any questions at all, Myerside at myerside.com. If you want to come down, but you want to make sure that we're there.
Yeah.
Again, Myerside at myerside.com.
Yeah.
Come on down.
And there's a lot of people that say they don't like the big development, and they don't. The hotels are going this, and well, this is completely different. It's
This is
just
exactly opposite.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you'll be able to see what I'm saying about how far away from the school the adults will be, maybe having a drink of wine or beer. And so it's certainly not going to be a bar that's facing the school where they could, start poking fun at the kids that are coming out of the school or whatever. I don't know what they were thinking about, or the kids are going to wander over. And all I could think about was how bad it was when there was like a drug den going on there, and the school is still there. It's like, it just seems like it's so much different.
Can we just say that we have we really support the school. We always have and always will. And so we're very, very aware. And Little League, we've supported and continue to support Little League and all of those things. We've always tried to be part of the heart of the island in that community, and we will continue to be so.
Well, thank you guys for coming
Thank you
on. We
so much.
appreciate you setting the record straight. And I'm going to go on a rant after you get off because I know you don't want to hear this part of it, but I'm going to tell everybody
boy.
where the objectors are coming from. But
Can I get off?
no, you're going to sit here and take the punishment. So Beverly and
Thank you
Roland,
guys
everybody,
so
big
much.
hand.
Thank you.
Hope you enjoyed breakfast and get on down to Myerside Resort. It's down by the library and down by Bay Oaks and down by the school. It is a nice little part of town down there. I mean, I don't often leave Times Square or this area, but
Well,
you know, one
I'm-
of the things that I think people need to know.
And they
Thank
have
you very
fans.
much.
No,
Oh.
that was for them.
Oh, I thought they were cheering for us, dear. That would be a change. Now, one of the things that that I want to make sure everybody knows is that for some reason, it's Tracy Gore has popped her head again, and it's total revenge, in my opinion. It's total revenge because when Bev was running the Estero Island Taxpayers Association as the president, Tracy Gore and Dennis Bolback got busted. In my opinion, violating the Sunshine Law at the Whale. This goes back away for all you new folks that don't know. You're not allowed to talk about business when you're an elected official. And the two of them were talking about the lawsuit at the Whale. And to me, it was a clear violation of the Sunshine Law. And they went up to the state, and then they didn't get in trouble for it. So I mean,
well,
they
this
didn't
is all
get in trouble
your
for it.
opinion.
It's all my opinion. And so all of a sudden, there's no presentation, there's no objections in front of the LPA, and it goes 6-0. It gets approved,
That's the thing.
and then
I
it
mean,
goes in front of the council. And here's Tracy Gore, and then here's Charlie from Little League. He objected too, and then there's all of a sudden there's somebody from the school board objecting. They didn't object at the LPA, and then now the town has this long presentation about how it doesn't fit into the code and it doesn't fit into the comprehensive plan. And if you just go over there and you see what they're trying to do, you could see this is a total revenge. They're trying to get you back for you going after me. It's a joke. I mean, and it's going to pass on the 5th. It's going to pass easily on the 5th. They might get one vote, and it's just another mark
you think-
against
so
another.
you're-
Yeah, it's just another Tracy Gore loss, trying to get back into power because of her past relationship politically with Roger. I think she's trying to call in a chip there when Tracy pushed through his raise at the last minute behind Anita's back without letting Anita know, and they're going to lose this one. I think. I mean, that's what I hear from everybody. I mean, I just think, and it's going to be better. It's going to be a nice place, and it's going to be nicer than it is now. And
Well, I didn't get to go down there, but I mean, the idea of saving the cottages that might otherwise get demolished, I think is super, and it's exactly what everybody talks about, wanting
Right.
to maintain the charm of Fort Myers
Right.
Beach and the history of Fort Myers Beach. So
If you went down there, wife,
I'm
you
going to
would
go down and play foosball.
you would want to stay there because you go. It's like there's a courtyard where there's a pool that they put in, and you can hang
so
out.
there's a volleyball.
There's a volleyball. That's where they want to put one of the old cottages,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess I shouldn't call them old. I should call them what, antique
Well,
or what are they called?
historic.
Okay, historic. And but you can see how everybody can come out onto their balcony, and it's like a little community there. That
Mhm.
so why would anyone be against that? What do you think the reason would be? Because the alcohol or the loud music? There was no music playing, and it was 100% capacity.
I think that these guys have demonstrated that they are responsible business owners, and that that will not happen. But if it were, they have conducted themselves professionally and responsibly, and would continue to operate anything that they put there in that manner of which they have. I don't see them allowing any kind of raucous behavior.
They
So
certainly don't want to discourage the
they-
regulars and the families because they have
Right.
bad apples, or they
Right.
would have left the drug dealers there.
Right. Yeah, the
Take
fact
a little
that
action off of that. I mean, you're probably making more money that way.
the fact that was such that, as
I didn't know
reported
that.
by them
Did you
or
know
in
that?
others. No, I didn't know that
it was
the
that
area
bad.
was unsafe or whatever.
I think everybody was saying that at the council meeting too, that it was that bad down there. So
right.
But
So you want to support that? I think. Well, I'm not going to say that. Go ahead.
what were we going to say? Feel free, dear. Nobody's watching.
That's all right.
Say something crazy for a change.
No,
Say
no.
something crazy. Anyway, the April 5th is the next council meeting. You have 3 minutes to speak. Anyone has 3 minutes to speak. You don't have to be a resident, I found out, because Charlie doesn't live on the beach. I guess he lives on the other side of the bridge. That's close enough, right? but I guess
I don't-
anybody can
I
speak.
think anybody can
Yeah,
speak.
for 3
So if
minutes.
you want to go down,
Right. I don't want to go down.
oh,
I'll get kicked out of City Hall. And once it gets approved on April the 5th, then they are good to go. So support Myerside if you can. They're community people, and like they were saying before, they're not like developers or they're not investors that are just trying to buy it and then sell it and then get out.
Right.
At least I've never gotten that impression. They've been around a long time. They do a lot of stuff in the community. So thank you to them for coming on. And
Yes.
before
We
we
gotta-
say goodbye, I have to read our last ad and let
no,
everybody
I just
know.
want to.
I have
has
to
my
let
mom
everybody
been
know.
on? Is
I haven't
Chad
seen
on?
your
Oh,
mom.
Chad's on. Chad, my mom is coming.
Oh boy,
on
Chad.
Tuesday,
You can take her off our hands for a
we
few
hope to-
days.
Oh, stop that.
Don'tItchIt.com, folks. It's that time of the year. Every year is that time of the year when
Every
those
year.
pesky
Every
bugs just
time.
fly up your nose or in your ears, and you don't need that. What you want to do is you want them dead before they get anywhere near you. So you go to
You
Don'tItchIt.com
just
right now.
want them to be repelled.
No, you want them dead, dear.
Well,
It's okay to kill
This
insects.
isn't like zapping them;
Yeah.
it's repelling them.
And you know what
Oh.
I figured out too? If somebody's breaking into your
Somebody
house,
throw me a
you
line
can put
here.
it right in between your two fingers and wing it across the back deck and hit them right in the face with it.
Life
Don'tItchIt.com.
preserver, anything.
It's
Throw me
all
something.
natural insect spray. All natural insect spray. I saved that for the last minute. Chill out over there. With the audience is going crazy over your
I'm
friggin'
getting-
hair. It's made and
Thanks to
powered
Gene.
by 100% essential oils. It's DEET free. DEET free. I still don't know what that means, but I think it's good because if there were DEETs in there, they probably wouldn't come out of the spray bottle. No
It is
water
a very
added,
dangerous chemical.
no chemicals, and no synthetics. And it smells amazing. Synthetic, sorry. It's a bit prior to
oh
using.
my! Best.
Don't itch it, then
mess
it can
up ever.
soothe the itch. I got to write better copy for my commercials.
No synthesis.
And it's registered with the state of Florida as a minimal risk insect repellent because you don't want maximum risk,
no,
right? You want minimal risk.
no. I think that's the whole getting rid of the D and the synthesis.
And the good shit is it's made in Florida because you don't want stuff from China. Because you know what happens when it comes from China? It's
And I
all
wanna
effed up
put-
from China.
you know
What?
that to mention the community foundations
Can you let me finish?
virtual auction that's
with
coming
the
up
ad?
March. Okay.
Don't
March 11.
itchit.com, islandoilsllc.com.
Well, they put in. They're
That's right.
offered to put in stuff too,
Part
so
of the
you
auction.
can get part
Right.
of the auction. Get on there, see what they have.
So, do you want a motorized bike?
Nope.
Bicycles are made for exercising.
I really take issue with what you said, but I've made my point and you just don't listen.
About the exercising?
Yeah, that there are people who are not at that level. You're so black and white. You just allow for no gray.
Call a cab, or you know what? Get a
No.
golf cart from
You
Sanibel
want to
Carts.
encourage folks to get active.
That's right. Get
and
active.
if they can't do it,
Put
they're
training
on-
wheels on.
That's not going to help.
Yeah, if you pedal in low gear, anyone can ride a bike. You can't pedal in low gear. Get a hybrid bike. Or
You
can
keep it
pedal
up,
in
you're
low
not going
gear.
to be pedaling at all.
I don't go biking unless it's 85 degrees and 100% humidity, because then it's after that it's too
Let
cold.
these people go. They have better stuff to do, and I have to go clean.
All right, so the auction is when?
March 11th through the 20th.
March 11th through the 20th. That guy over there looks familiar.
I know.
Are we related?
Looks like a family member
Oh, boy.
to me.
All right. And what else you want to talk about the auction so we can let people know how to get auctionized?
I will bring the website. I'm sorry, it went right out of my head.
All
So
right.
I don't want to give out wrong information.
All right, well,
but
we'll
you
post
can
it.
always go to their website, the Community Foundation website, and check that out.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We're only going to go 15 minutes over today, which is it's a low number for us because you're a talkaholic sometimes. And a big thank you to Congressman Brian Mast
Yes.
for coming on because he is a great American hero.
Yes,
if you
for
don't
taking
know,
the time while he's on the road.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't know anything about Congressman Brian Mast, you should find out
Yep.
because one of the things that you might not know about him is he lost both his legs in an IED explosion when he was overseas protecting our freedom to not wear a mask. So thank you very much to Congressman Brian
And
Mast.
to not wear a helmet.
to not wear a helmet. And we will see
and
you.
thanks to Jean.
Yes, we will see you. Oh,
at
that's right. Her hair
Salon
looks fabulous.
Avant-Garde.
She got a new hairdo, and all the dudes here want to make sure that I say nice
Thank
things
you,
about her
thank you,
hair.
Jean. Salon
right.
Avant-Garde.
See ya. Bye bye.